It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. Let's get started. We're talking to David, who's on the line from Kansas. Hello, David. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to be here.
I'm so happy to have you. So tell us, what is going on for you and how can we help you out?
Well, I am looking at changing jobs in a few years. I've had a pretty steady path for my investments, but I'm curious to see what tweaks I should make going forward.
All right. Well, maybe no tweaks. Maybe you don't need any tweaks at all. I like a little second set of eyes and ears on the situation. So, David, how old are you?
I am 39.
And what's the career change? Tell us a little bit about that. What are you anticipating?
It will be retiring from the Army at 20 years. And then what I'll do next, I haven't quite figured out yet.
Okay. So once you have 20 years in, which is in how long? You said a few years? You got 3 years?
A little over 3 years.
Okay. At that point, what do you receive from a pension at 20 years in?
50% of my base pay is what I'll get, plus whatever disability rating, which I have no idea what that will be. Then that's taxable.
Okay. And will you also have health benefits for life?
Yes, the VA health benefits I will continue to have at an increased, more traditional health insurance style than what I have in the Army.
But it would give you at least a base coverage in case you wanted to go do something else where you don't have to worry about that, basically. And,
oh,
you know
absolutely.
What I mean? Right.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what is the dollar amount that you expect it to receive as that base pay, 50% of your base pay in 3 years? What's that dollar amount right now?
By that time, I expect it to be between $50,000 and $55,000.
Have you saved through the thrift savings plan, or tell us a little bit about what you have put away on your salary so far?
In retirement accounts, I have about $60,000 in a Roth and about $135,000 in the TSP. I maxed the Roth out, and I'm just shy of maxing the TSP out.
Are you single or married, or?
I'm single.
Okay. Beyond the Roth and the thrift savings plan, which, I mean, it's pretty amazing. You're not making a ton of money. You're putting a lot of money away. Do you have savings or a brokerage account?
I have about $70,000 in a taxable brokerage account. And then I'm currently rebuilding my savings because I went a little crazy in December.
What happened? Tell us what happened in December. I want to hear about your crazy December. Did you go to Taylor Swift somewhere? Is that what you did?
I did not. I went to Vegas for a couple of nights and ate at all the nice restaurants. And then my parents' 50th was down in Jacksonville, so I spent some time at Bernardino Beach and up on Jekyll Island.
You know what?
And beach hotels aren't cheap.
Yeah, they're expensive. It's expensive to travel. Here's the breaking news, right? So right now, How much do you have in your emergency reserve?
$8,000. That will be $15,000 within 3 months.
Okay. Do you own a home or do you rent right now?
I just bought, and this is where the dumbest thing I've done financially in several years. I bought it on VA, zero down, and rolled the closing costs into the loan. So I'm right now working on reducing that with some speed.
Oh boy. Okay. So how much did you buy the house for?
$230,000.
Okay. And is this a house you want to keep for a while? This is like, I know, forgetting about the way you financed it, but is this a place you want to keep, or did you buy this to sort of say, I can flip this anytime?
I'm undecided. As long as the Army keeps me where I'm at, then it's a great house for me. When I get out of the Army, it'll depend on whether I'm going to stay in the area or not.
Okay, fair enough. So explain how the VA loan works. So what is the outstanding amount of that mortgage? Is it $235,000 because you put zero down and rolled costs in, or what?
It started at $234.95. I've been paying a little bit extra every month. It's down to like $232.5 right now.
Okay. So what happens to this? What is the interest rate associated with this?
6.25, which is another reason that I'm interested in paying it down quickly.
Wait a minute. What 0.25? I missed the first number.
6.25.
6.25. Okay.
Hey, we're partners. I have 6.25 too.
I know, but you don't have zero down. But here's my question about this. I think there are very specific rules about VA loans, so I want to make sure that I understand this. If for some reason, like let's pretend that all of a sudden your area got hot and you said, the area is hot and my house increased in value and interest rates are down. What are can you refinance any VA loan no problem, or are there specific rules around that?
I can refinance and stay in the VA loan once with minimal costs.
Right.
I get one that I forget the specifics, but there's a cap cost on it as opposed to other refinances. But I can also refinance out of it at any time if the rates become more appealing.
Okay. But you're putting the money down on this because you're worried that you don't have a buffer, right?
Yes, that, and I'm constantly tweaking and tooling my finances and looking at things. And so I want to build some equity in the house faster and also just generally reduce the amount of interest I'm going to pay on this over the life of the loan.
I got you. Let's talk about the brokerage account for a second. You've got a taxable brokerage account. You said there's 70 grand in there. You're managing your own investments, right?
I am.
Okay. What's in this account? Do you have any winners or losers? Like, you're like, oh, I'm kicking butt because I picked NVIDIA 2 years ago. Like, what's in this account?
Well, it used to have AMD. I trimmed that one off last fall, which catching the falling knife is terrible. I limit my individual stocks. Most of it is in Schwab's Total Market Fund.
Okay. Are the individual stocks, are they showing losses?
Some are. ALB is up from when I bought it, Albemarle, and then I've got some. Rivian is down, but I don't have a big position in that. And so it's hit or miss.
I mean, but that's like your fund.
I understand the gambling.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since you just went to Vegas, you got a good taste of real gambling, which is a lot more fun because the drinks are better. So here's what I'm asking, maybe, and this is a provocative question to ask you. I know you have this taxable brokerage account and you like it. If you sold out half of this account right now, okay, and you make what, about 100, 110, 20-ish? Is that what you're making right now?
Yeah, taxable, not including the housing allowance, it's about 110.
And does the housing allowance pop you up even more? In other words, you account for that or not? I don't remember how that works, the housing allowance.
That's not taxable, so it doesn't impact it.
Here's what I'm thinking.
It goes away at retirement, though.
Okay, yeah, I got you. So here's what I'm sort of thinking. All right. You're a single guy, you're having fun, you're living large, you're saving good money, you're putting money in the thrift savings plan and the Roth, and there's this brokerage account. But what would be the worst thing what if you took, I don't know, you took the brokerage account and you took it down. You got rid of the individual stocks, you pulled some of the money out of the index fund, you just paid down a chunk of this mortgage so that you feel a little bit more like you have that comfortable amount. More with David in just a moment. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And if you've got a financial question, just go to our website, jillonmoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. Let's get back to David from Kansas. Mark, would you feel more comfortable if David had a little bit of a buffer on that house? Like, here's the downside of not doing anything. I'll give you the up and the down in my mind. I know that we all do this. We're human beings. We play it's like magical thinking around our balance sheet. Like, I have a liability called a mortgage, and it's a 6.25% mortgage, and I'm mortgaged up to the hilt and then some. Like, if in 3 years you are done with your service and we thank you and we throw a party for you and it's great, but you don't want to stay where you are, but the housing market sucks for some reason. Things have turned, it's been bad, blah, blah, blah. And you're stuck in this place because you don't have enough equity to really do anything with it. And yet you have this taxable brokerage account that's available that you could do something. I feel like I want you to have a taxable brokerage account, and yet I'm worried about there being no wiggle room on this mortgage. So Mark, how would you address the fact that he's upside down on the mortgage already? And by the way, the VA has got to stop doing these loans because they're silly. That's an editorial on my part. Would you sell part of the brokerage account to put some of the money down on the house, Mark?
I would not, just because there's a lot of uncertainty as to what the next chapter is going to be. That kind of gives me a little peace of mind.
So you think that having the brokerage account is a better peace of mind than having the mortgage be right side up?
At least for a few more years until he figures out the next chapter. I personally want to keep the brokerage.
All right, then you can do that. I'm gonna say the other. I think we should clean up some of the brokerage account, at least sell the losers to the extent that you have them against the winners, free up the cash, and at the very least that should be put down on the mortgage. That's my 2 cents. If you guys don't want to do that, I get where you're going. I think it's a close call, but I think that if you want a little bit of, I get the flexibility point, but I'm not comfortable with you being upside down right now. I would be comfortable with you being upside down if you said I'm staying in the military for life. Then I think you're fine. But it is concerning to me where you are, and then you're locked into this house. But you know the risk, okay? So you're going to choose whichever way you want to go. Now, that means that out of your cash flow right now, out of this 110 or 120,000, how much are you putting down towards the mortgage right now?
I am throwing an extra $161.01 at it because that brings it to an even number of $19.50 a month for my payment.
Okay.
As I rebuild my savings, I will reduce what's going into savings and increase what I'm throwing extra to principal each month.
Okay. That seems reasonable. I mean, look, if you're trying to prepare for a next career and you're going to have 50 or 55 grand that's coming in, that is great from the pension, I would just be cognizant of the fact that this, the house itself, I would be looking to either refinance it, sell it, figure out next steps, but we can't be married to this house. And I guess that in some respects, the risk. I've alerted you to the risk. And I think that what I would also be maybe thinking about, because you've done a good job of saving, to some extent, I might even pull back a little bit on my thrift savings plan. If you really want to bulk up on your brokerage account and emergency reserve, I mean, you don't need to put so much money in the thrift savings plan. You might want, it's maybe a higher value item would be to build up your taxable brokerage and your emergency reserves right now in the next few years, then building your thrift savings plan, because you're going to have another career. You're going to keep working for a bunch of years and you're young. So I might pull back on that a little bit just to help that your cash flow do the things you want to do. I think the priority is indeed the emergency reserve and getting some equity into that home. And from there, the brokerage and retirement are both important, but as long as you're maxing out your Roth, you're putting some money in. How much are you putting into the thrift savings right now?
I do 19%, which comes to about $1,900 a month.
What's the priority for you, David?
My goal coming out of when I retire is to have the freedom to choose. And if I want to go do something that's not 5 days a week, 9 to 5, I want the freedom to do that. And that's where I see the taxable account coming in handy.
Okay. Well,
I have been considering reducing the TSP.
Yeah.
As I sit here thinking about it, I really like your suggestion about the taxable brokerage account, at least the individual stocks to the house to flip the mortgage to the right side.
Yeah, I think that it's okay. I would be fine pulling back on the TSP a little bit, cleaning up anything. Again, the individual stocks, look at what your tax position is, especially if you can sort of get into like a zero tax liability standpoint, that some winners, some losers, but no tax due. That's great. And pull back on the thrift savings plan, put it into the brokerage account, and, go from there. But I think that if you want flexibility, having obviously the cash on hand, I could be convinced that it's important for you to have cash on hand. But as long as you are aware of the looming liability of the home mortgage, and I think you are, but I think to manage all of this, it is important for you to also understand that if you need to tap that brokerage account in 3 years from now and you're all in super duper aggressive stocks, then you should be careful. That is an important piece of this as well, which is if your asset allocation is like you're investing like a 39-year-old guy who doesn't need the money for 25 years, you are going to need the money potentially, and you've got to pull back some of the risk in the portfolio overall.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Would you do that through bonds or just shifting more into index funds?
I would probably go. Do you have any bond position, or is the brokerage 100% in stocks right now?
I'm all gas, no brakes across the board, all stocks.
Okay. Okay to be all stocks in your Roth and your thrift savings plan. In the brokerage account, I would add a bond position for sure. For sure. And by the way, bond prices are down. So if you buy yourself like a nice bond index fund, you should be fine. It'll bounce around a little bit, but it will create some income stream for you. And that is good. And you may need to tap that income stream. Who knows? So Mark, what percentage in bonds in the brokerage account? 20% at least?
I would say no more than that.
I would say 20. You can see who's more aligned with you, David. You see the wimpy Aunt Jill, but it's like Mark's your brother being like, yeah, come on. Keep doing it. No, I just think if you're going to, again, gang, the reason why I'm saying this with David is that if you're going to be in transition, you have to be able to identify the risks that lie in front of you, right? And if one of the risks is, hey, I might want to have 3 months, in 3.5 years, I might need 3 months where I have no income except 50 or 55 grand. You may want stability of a portfolio as a more important issue than growth of that portfolio. So I'm not saying that bonds are without risk. I'm just going to say they act differently. So I would look at a 20%. So if you're going to do anything with the with the brokerage account, what I do think is that you can start reallocating, harvesting some losses, and make some decisions about how much of that you're willing to part with in order to get a little bit more security in the mortgage liability that's outstanding.
No, I think that makes sense.
And, everything could be, you may look back on this and say, that chick was nuts because 3.5 years from now, you might be like, I'm making 150 grand a year and I could have been investing 100% in stocks and she cost me money. But we're giving you an opportunity to see if there's something else that you can do where you might need to access this money. That's the only thing that I'm considering. So if things work out better than expected, great. Then it's just better and you missed some upside opportunity. But if it's worse than expected, then you'll be happy you have a bit more stability overall on your balance sheet, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you.
If you'd like to join us, just go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make better or maybe less bad financial decisions. Whatever is going on in your life, we'd love to hear from you. Maybe you're thinking about 2 different jobs. Maybe you're considering a tax situation. Maybe as your kids are going back to school, you're starting to panic about how to pay for college. Maybe it's about your own retirement. Whatever the topic, we'd love to hear from you. Go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Write us a note, and if you'd like to join us live, just check the box. Mark will do everything else. While you're on the website, check out our subscription service. It's called Jill on Money Live. For $35, you will have access to quarterly live webinars, and the next one is coming at the end of this month. And we are doing a special financing and real estate edition of the webinar, and it's going to have two, not just one, but two guests. So you got to check it out. You can only join us if you are a member of Jill on Money Live. Again, $35 for quarterly live webinars, the back catalog of those webinars, and also a lot of bonus video content is behind that paywall. The very low paywall, I might add. If you don't feel like shelling out the money, that's fine too. We've got some great free resources, including our free weekly newsletter, which comes out every single Friday. I encourage everybody to subscribe to that. Mark does such a good job compiling stories you may have missed throughout the week. We've got resources. We've got other videos. We've got 2 different podcasts. You can subscribe to them also on our website. And of course, our YouTube show called Jill on Money, powered by The Compound. All the links are on the website. Please do check it out. Okay, now let's get back to you. We are next talking to Kevin, who's on the line with us from Northern California. Hello, Kevin. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Doing
Thanks
great.
For taking my call.
Oh, we're so happy to talk to you. Tell us what's going on. How can we help you out?
So I'm recently turned 28, and I got into a new career, and I started to make like actual, serious money for California, I guess.
Wait, what were you doing before?
So for the last 5 years, I was working as a chemist in a lab.
Oh.
And now I'm working as a field service engineer for the instrumentation in the labs.
Wow. This sounds very technical and important. So I'm just going to say, wow. How much do you earn as a field service engineer?
So I'm starting, it's 175.
Wait a minute.
Nice.
You're 28 years old.
Yeah.
And oh my God, what were you making when you were a chemist just in the lab?
In my last year, I was making about 80.
Did you have to get additional? I am incredulous. This is awesome. Did you have to get additional certification or training or education? No.
So everything I learned on how to work on the instruments was just at my job. And I started applying to this position, several months ago. And they finally had an opening. They don't have many openings that often. There's only a few engineers for this company on the West Coast. Mm-hmm. I finally got lucky to get picked up. And
no, you were not lucky. You earned it, baby. You earned it. Congratulations, first of all. That's amazing.
Yeah.
When you're a chemist in a lab, do you have to have a master's? Like, what's your?
I just had a bachelor's.
Okay.
Yeah.
Probably your smarty pants, super smarty pants.
In chemistry, that's it. Started working right away out of school.
Now that you're making this $175,000, what are we going to do with it? Do you have a retirement plan that you can contribute to?
I had it was a small company I was working for, and they had some kind of unknown 401k plan, and I wasn't really contributing much just because my expenses were pretty high.
Yes.
Especially with like insurance and everything. So mostly I was just saving into a savings account. I haven't really done anything, any kind of investing.
Is the 175 employer now, does that employer have a 401k?
Yeah, they have. You can do Roth or traditional.
Do they have a match also?
They do. I believe it's 3%.
Okay. Listen, I know you live in a high tax state, but it also sounds like you're the kind of person who's going to see their salary continue to increase. So I would do 100% Roth right now.
Okay.
Do you have any old debt or anything that's outstanding or anything crazy going on out there?
I don't have any debt. I never borrowed any money.
Oh my God, your credit score must be 0 because you have no credit record. Okay, first thing you're going to do, you're going to go to your employer and you're going to say, I want to max out my Roth 401k. That will mean that you're going to put $23,000 into that Roth. Okay?
Okay.
What you should probably also do, if you can, I mean, it's not imperative, but maybe take that old 401k and roll it into their traditional 401k just so it's all in one place and keep an eye on it. Because I have a feeling things are going to change in your life and you're going to lose track of that old 401k, and maybe we should tidy that up right now.
Okay.
All right. How much money's in the savings account?
I have about 25 grand.
Great. And where are you living? You renting now?
Yeah, I'm renting.
What's your rent?
It's about 2,400.
Okay. And do you have any big expenses coming up? Like, do you need a car? Is there anything? Are you going to move?
No, I have a pretty good car. I've been driving the same car for like 10 years.
All right.
And it was like my second car I've had.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with it. So I don't really have any expenses other than that.
Okay. So in addition, so you had the old 401k, you have the savings account, you got your rent, you live in your life. If we max out your Roth 401k, it's possible you still have money that will be left over every month.
Yeah. So should I open up like a personal brokerage account?
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to open up a brokerage account. And where is your the current company's 401k? Do you happen to know if it's like at a Fidelity or a Vanguard? Is it a big house like that?
No, it's not one of those.
Okay.
I would have to look it up, honestly.
All
I
right.
have no idea.
And where's your savings account right now? Just in the bank?
It's in Ally.
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. We'll get back to Kevin in just a minute. If you would like to figure out what is a way for you to deal with a financial question that you're grappling with, maybe it's a big decision, maybe it's a small one, whatever it is, go to the website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, get in touch with us. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are answering financial questions. We're also answering big life questions. So many of the decisions in your life probably have some sort of financial part. And we want to make sure that you can concentrate on the real life stuff so you don't have to fret about the financial stuff. If that's you, you're doing a little fretting, we want to alleviate that for you. Go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button and let us know if you'd like to join us on the air live. Mark will do everything else. It's very easy to do. Right now, let's get back to Kevin, who's on the line with us from Northern California. You can open a brokerage account at any large firm where you can buy index funds. And I'm often saying these words to people, and they're like, go slowly when you go through all of these different companies. So I want to just do that nice and slow for everyone, as well as for you, Kevin. You see, you are serving everybody just with this great call. So where are the places you can find cheap index funds? They are companies like Fidelity, like Vanguard, like T. Rowe Price, like Charles Schwab, like E-Trade, which is now part of Morgan Stanley. Any of those places will allow you to open up a brokerage account in your own name. And what you'll want to do is, you know, as you see how the cash flow goes, you'll have the brokerage account draft money from your checking account, a certain amount every month. And what I would encourage you to do is try to identify a number that's not going to leave you like, you know, with $0 at the end of the month. But if you're making $175 and we're going to put $23,000 into your Roth and you're going to pay your taxes and you're going to live your life, there's some amount of money that will be left or available every month. I don't know what that is. It's funny because you are making, you know, so you're making so much more money now. So I imagine it's probably going to be something like $1 or $2 a month. So I would just sort of track that. And maybe I would start with automatically having a draft of $1,000 a month into a brokerage account. And when you have that account, you can do very easily. You're so young, you're only 28. You could say, I'm going to put 80% of it, let's say 70% in a extended market index. I'm going to put 10% in an international index, and I'm going to put 20% in a bond index and call it a day. You just, just like that. And you should do the same thing in your Roth 401k, like 80% stocks, 20% bonds. And if you want to send us the list of the Roth options, your 401k options, we can help you with that.
Okay. And so for now, you're saying I should just be focusing on like a number or a percentage of my income to put away?
I like a number because you're going to be great because, if you max out again, you're going to max out that Roth. You're going to have 23 grand going in there. I think I want you more connected to the way you spend money because this is the moment in your life where you can easily kind of blow 30 grand a year on stuff because it's new to you. You've made so much more money in this move that it's not going to feel like if we don't capture it, there's a risk that it just kind of gets spent on stuff. Yeah. So what I would ask you is if you could if you said, okay, I'm going to max out my Roth and then I'm going to try to put $1,000 a month into my brokerage account. And if that's easy and you still have money piling up in your savings account, then you can go to $1,500 a month in the brokerage account or $2,000 in the brokerage account. And we can see where this leads you. But I think it's just a great story in that you've taken advantage of an opportunity in the marketplace that is really phenomenal. It is hard to believe that you had this huge jump in just a couple of years, but here you are, you're living it. I think that if you find that you're making more and more and more money and you need like a different kind of a game plan, or you say, I really want to be able to buy a house, then get back in touch with us. But I think you're in great shape now. It's amazing to me. You're a single guy, you're 28, you're living large.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get started because everyone always talks about how your 20s are the prime time. So
it's not really, by the way, it's not the prime time in your life because it gets better and better with every decade, but it's a darn good time to start that beautiful, beautiful brokerage account. It's great. You're going to be so happy you did it.
Awesome.
All right, Mark, anything else for Kevin of Northern California? Or Mark, have you started interviewing to get the job as a field service engineer?
Yes, I just submitted one application, but the only thing I would just tweak in terms of that brokerage account, I don't know that I would use the extended market because that's kind of just small and mid caps. I would use a total stock market.
Oh, I'm sorry. I misspoke. You're right. It's the total. I said extended and I meant total. Thank you. Total stock market index, wherever it is. If you want another set of ears and eyes on your situation, all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Write us your note. That's the email that we receive. And if you'd like to join us live, all you need to do is check that box, and Mark does everything else. He does all the tech. He gets all the arrangements. He's fantastic. So I encourage you to do that. While you're on the website, you can also check out my book. It's called The Great Money Reset. That's a way to change really chaotic situations into opportunistic ones. Okay, when we return, more of your questions. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we will be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are a program that is focused on helping you maybe wade through some of your emotions and also get to the other side of what your financial opportunities may be. And we do that because Mark and I are both certified financial planners, and all you need to do is go to the website, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button, And that way we'll get your note and we answer your email question or we bring you on the air live. Now, this question is from Anne, who writes, I'm self-managing my investments, but I've hired a fee-only certified financial planner. She's advising that I need to lower my risk profile and look into reducing taxes. She's suggesting that I invest some of the cash on hand, $140,000, into muni funds. She says that these funds are less complicated than trying to research individual bonds. What is your point of view? My stats, I'm 54 years old. I'd like to retire in 4 years, not married but partnered, $3.1 million in investments, $1 million in a 401k, $1 million in a single tech stock, my previous employer, and $1 million in a brokerage account, 86% stocks, balance in cash bonds, CDs. Earnings vary, but about $450,000 a year. Wow. This is an amazing story, Anne. So I think that I agree that when you have less than probably, I don't know, $500,000 or so, it's tough to go out and select individual municipal bond funds, depending on your state, obviously. I do like the idea of creating some income because you're in a high tax bracket, with $450,000 in earnings, plus the money that is probably being thrown off from that brokerage account. You're in a high tax bracket, right? You're probably in the 35% bracket. So I might look into the municipal bond funds and also ask that advisor whether or not there might be an idea around how you can reduce some of the risk in your portfolio as you approach retirement. Maybe think that through and discuss it with the advisor. It sounds like you're in amazing shape. All right, we've got a whole nother hour to go. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we'll be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that tries to take the mystery out of your financial life. Let's kick off the hour with Maya, who's on the line from New Jersey. Hi, Maya. How are you?
Hi. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm really excited.
Really?
Yes. I've been listening for about, I would say, 7 years. And I'll tell you what my journey was. When I started listening to you guys,
Yes.
I avoided all of your caller episodes because I didn't have any of my numbers together and I didn't know how to go about doing it. And it made me feel really bad. So I only listened to your interviews, but it was motivation from your podcast that I was thinking I really should get my stuff together. And so I feel a lot more on top of it in the past few years.
That's
so thank
awesome.
you so much.
Oh, thank you so much. I love the journey. So I'm glad you got the numbers together, but the numbers are really kind of half, maybe even like less than that. They're like a third of the story. The other part of the story is like who you are and what you want to do. So Maya, now that you got your act together and have certain documents or numbers, tell us who you are, what's going on, and how we can help you out.
Sure. So I am, how old am I? 43. I'm married. My spouse is 48. We have an 8-year-old. And what do you need to know? You need to know.
I want to know.
my salary,
I'll
right?
do it nice and easy. Let's do it this way. So you're married. You got an 8-year-old kid. Are you and your spouse both working?
Sort of. So I am working. I am the primary breadwinner of the household.
Okay.
My husband is a freelancer, an artist. So he brings in a little bit of money, but it's not something that, it's not a whole lot.
Yeah. So he's the primary caregiver to the 8-year-old. And
much.
he brings in some money. So tell us about your income. How much are you earning?
My income is $208,000 with a bonus, I would say about 20 to 25 a year.
20 to 25% or 20 to 25,000?
20 to 25,000.
See how I was trying to get you a bump up, right?
Yeah,
It was
I
good.
appreciate it.
I appreciate that. Okay. Should we add in any money for your freelance artist hubby, or should we just say zero so we don't count on it?
It's between 10 to 20,000 a year.
Okay, got it. Now, in your job, let's say you make about 225. Let's make it that. Do you make a retirement contribution based on that?
I do.
How much do you put away?
So I put away the max each year.
Great.
And I think it was about 2 years ago, they started offering the Roth.
Mm-hmm.
So I do contribute Roth.
Okay. How much is in the traditional side?
Traditional side. Oh, you're going to make me do math.
No. I'm not even doing you can give me the whole balance and then we'll just kind of guess.
Okay. Full balance is 353,000.
Okay. So is it fair to say it's probably more like 50 grand is Roth of that?
About 15% of that is Roth.
Okay.
I don't know what that comes out
That's
to.
good. Okay, good. Is that the only retirement account you have, or do you have other assets that are
I
in
have
retirement?
some old employer assets. So
Tell us about that.
old 403B, 295,000, and old, former employer pension plan that they closed out. So it's the cash balance of about 12,000.
Do we need to move that out? Are they saying like, oh, this cash balance, like you have to move it out by a certain time?
No.
Okay. All right. That's great. So we've got
I have Roth IRAs as well.
Tell me about those.
Okay. Roth IRA for me, it's 157,000. For the spouse, it's 88,000, and we contribute the max each year through backdoor Roth.
Does your husband have any other retirement plan left over from anything? Like sometimes I see artists have SEPs and self-employment plans. Anything else that's floating around for him?
No, what we do is we contribute to a brokerage account that I consider is retirement, and we have 255K in there for that one.
Wow, that's great. Okay, so now we've got 350 in the current, another 3-ish, 295 in the old 403B, some pension plan money, Roth IRAs, this big fat brokerage account. Any other assets that you guys have accumulated?
Not earmarked for retirement, but we have an HSA, about 13,000.
Okay.
For the kid, we have a 529, 130,000.
Whoa, that's great. 130,000?
Yeah.
Is that in the New Jersey plan?
It's not. It's in New York, I believe.
I don't understand. Like you're the second person I've talked to from New Jersey, and you didn't use the New Jersey plan. Is that because you don't get the tax benefit if you make over a certain amount of money?
That's correct.
Okay.
We don't get the tax benefit. And also, we had heard that the New York plan was maybe
good.
A little bit better. So
it would be better if you lived in New York, but okay.
Well, that's true.
All right. So we have the 130 grand. Wow. Like you're all set for Rutgers. Do we need to save more than that? Is that, are we done for the 529 right now? Or do you want to try to pay for Princeton?
Don't know about that. I think we're done for the 529. We have another 13,000 in a separate brokerage account. It's our account, but we're earmarking it for the kid just for other stuff in case they need it.
Okay, good. That's great. What about safe money? Like, cash in the bank or something like that?
Right. So we actually have one last brokerage account I didn't tell you about yet.
Oh, okay. Tell me
that
about
has 250,000 in it.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. So it serves about 3 purposes.
Okay.
About 150,000 we're thinking for whatever future expenses we might need down the line.
Okay.
Not quite retirement, but more down the line.
Long-term money.
Yeah.
Okay.
77,000 of it we're earmarking for probably just housing expenses, not including down payment, just whatever might happen for a house purchase, possible car purchase.
Okay.
And then we have another 20,000 in there that's in the settlement fund that I consider part of our emergency savings.
Okay. You said housing expenses. Can we just talk about the house for 1 second?
Yep, that's the reason why I'm calling.
Yes. Tell me about the house.
We don't have a house. We rent.
Okay.
We would like to have a house.
Are you
and
sure?
we've just
It's a pain in the neck.
It's a
I'm not kidding.
I
It's a
know.
pain in the neck. What's your rent right now?
Our rent is $3,800 a month.
Do you like where you live?
We like the town. We would like to buy in the town, but I don't think we want to stay in an apartment. It's just too small for the three of us.
That 8-year-old is busting out, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So what do we have to pay to be in the kind of house that you would want?
The ones we're looking at that we like are about $850, or I would say more than $850.
Well,
And
how much more?
let's say between
Like
850
150 more? Could we just say $1 million or not?
We could say $850 to $1 million.
Let's say $1 million. We'll get back to Maya in just a second. If you've got a question, go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button and write us a note. That's the email that we receive. And if you'd like to join us live, which I think is a much better experience, check the box and Mark will do everything else. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger takes the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, the program that tries to help you make better financial decisions. If you need some assistance, just go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, write us your note, and if you'd like to join us live, check that box. Mark will do everything else. Let's get back to Maya, who's on the line with us from New Jersey. Is the idea that the brokerage account that has the 250 in it, the 150 long term, the 77, can I use 200 of that to put as a down payment or not?
Oh, sorry. I didn't finish how much we have. We also have in cash. We have 190 set aside in cash in a high yield savings for a down payment.
So I could put down 200,000 and get you an $800,000 mortgage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Have you gone and looked at what that would cost you right about now?
I think we would be approved for it. So we were in the housing market we've been in it for about 2 years and got really discouraged after several offers turned down. And so I think we would be approved for it if that's.
Yeah, I mean, I think you'd be approved for it also. The question is how you would feel. Right. How would you feel if you went from $3,800 a month to, I don't know, $6,000 a month, which is essentially like that's just your principal and interest, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
it's a little scary, but I think we also have a lot already saved in retirement. So.
Yeah, you do. And you're doing well. Like if I were to check, if I look at your expenses right now, there's a reason why you're able to save all this money. You must have somewhat low expenses, even with, renting and everything. Like, do you have a sense of what what it costs you to live your life every month?
I think it's about $8,000 a month. Maybe $9,000 if you factor in travel.
And you're also saving on top of it. So what's happening right now, just to make sure I understand this, Maya, you make $220,000, $30,000. Your husband makes whatever he makes, so $240-ish. You're maxing out your retirement account. You're putting in you're each doing backdoor Roths. And then on top of that, are you putting money aside every single month?
Yes.
How much
putting
is
aside
that?
Between $1,000 and $2,000 a month into the brokerage accounts.
So theoretically, if I look at what you're saving and I then divert that and say, okay, well, now that extra money that you were saving will now will pay for the extra, it's going to be an extra $3,000 a month. There's no doubt because, it's going to be property taxes are high in your area,
yep.
Right? So even if I say the mortgage and the principal and interest is 6, I'm going to pay how much in property taxes on this $1 million house? Would you guess?
If $1 million house, it's probably more like $20,000.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So even if I just said $1,500 a month, So that's 7,500 a month. And then there's homeowners. So it's, it's $8,000 a month in housing expenses. So it's basically double what you're paying in rent. Okay. I think you could probably do this. I really do, which is shocking, right? It will put a different kind of pressure on you. Okay. And here's what I mean by that. It may be that especially early in the process, you will have to pull back. You won't be able to save any extra money, right? Yeah, that's just gone. It may even be that you have to think about not doing your Roths for a couple of years, because are you in an industry where you'll make more money?
Yes.
Definitely, right? Like your trajectory is higher, right?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, I think you can do it. It's going to be such a transition because you're so used to living a certain way and having cash flow. So what I ask of you is that you have to really look at the situation and say to yourself, I know we will not be able to save as much money. However, and here's your big however, we have the money that we need to save for college. It's basically done. We have a bunch of money saved for retirement, and you're not going to pull back from all of your retirement. I'm just saying that you might have to pull back from the Roths in the beginning just to make the cash flow easier on you guys. And you're going to have to get used to this idea that, the cash account of 190 grand, it's like that's gone plus probably another 50. And it's probably going to end up being more than that. Because I feel like even if you put 200 down, there's going to be 100 of just other stuff and moving and new furniture. You know what I mean? Like you're going to need to spend some money. You have to be willing to to dig into them and spend it. And I find with people like you, Maya, who are awesome savers, that's hard to do. So
it's hard. It's hard to think about it, but I think we need to do it.
I mean, look, here's the thing. You're in an apartment, you're kind of busting out, you make good money, you're on a good career trajectory. I don't think that it's feasible for me to say, like, just keep renting. I really don't. I mean, I guess you could rent a house instead of an apartment, which I don't know. How much would that cost? It probably costs you $5,000 a month, right? Or $6,000.
Probably. Yeah.
So in that case, you might as well do the purchase. If you can give yourself permission to spend the brokerage account money, the cash, and, let yourself do that, see how your cash flow lands, be ready to refinance in the next however many years. But, interest rates are higher now, and maybe even pull back on the backdoor Roths. I think that you can do this. I really do. Can I ask you more, like a few other little extra questions now that we know you can buy your $1 million house?
Sure.
Okay. Do you guys have life insurance?
We do.
Okay. How much?
I have 1.6 in term
Good.
life insurance plus another, I think, 200K from work. And
okay. Great.
for the spouse, so he's only about 100K right now through my work.
But like, if something, is he the primary caretaker? Like, I mean, God forbid something happened to him. Would you imagine that two things would happen? Either you would work less or you'd have to hire someone to help out?
Yep.
Okay.
It would probably be hire someone to help out after school.
Okay. Do you have the ability to purchase more life insurance through work on his life?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So I think we should get more life insurance on him. I just want you to look at a 10-year term policy. He's like, do it sooner rather than later, because at 50, it starts to get a lot more expensive. I mean, we really need it for like 5 or 10 years, but I want you to get another $500,000 of coverage on him. Okay.
About $500,000.
Yeah. Do you have your estate documents done?
We sure do. I feel
You
great.
know what? I don't know what you're saying. Like, you're in great shape. You have all your information. Life is good. Are you going to work forever? What's your story?
I don't want to work forever.
Oh, she's crying. Oh, how much longer?
Oh, I mean,
We got to get this kid through college.
I know.
So we got
do.
15 years, right?
Yeah.
15 years. You can do that.
Sure.
Can we get you to 60?
Yes.
You're going to have to
can
kick
get
some
me to
ass and
60.
make some more money. But yes. All right. No pension plan on this job.
No pension.
Okay. And here's how this is going to go. You're going to give yourself permission to do it, number one. And once you do it and you have the house and you're making more money, you'll be able to save more money again. You really will. You just have to get through the next, let's say 3 years or 4 years where you absorb this bigger expense. Okay. And then once that's happened, maybe instead of making 225,000, maybe you're making 275 or, and you'll get back to rebuilding the brokerage account. Okay. And then hopefully we'll be able to get a shot at refinancing your mortgage to a lower rate, and you'll save some money that way. And then you'll be in your dream house. You'll live in the Garden State, and you'll say, it took me 7 years to call her and another
7 years to buy the house.
No, not to buy it, but to feel comfortable in it. If you're trying to make a big decision and going it alone is just a drag, get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You are back. It's the Jill on Money Show, the program that's trying to take the mystery out of your financial life. We do that by encouraging you to go to our website where you will see a Contact Us button. Just click it, write your note, and if you'd like to join us live, then Mark will do everything else. Now, while you're on the website, I really want to point out a couple of things. First of all, we have a subscription service. For $35 for the next 12 months, you can be part of Jill on Money Live. This is where you have access to quarterly live webinars. And the next one coming up at the end of this month is focused on the real estate and financing markets. So if you've got a real estate question or you're thinking about a move, you're upsizing, you're downsizing, you want to know when you're going to be able to refinance, what the costs are, all of that, we have experts who will be joining us on that webinar later this month, but only if you're a member of Jill on Money Live. If you don't feel like springing for the $35, then sign up for the free weekly newsletter. You got it. The price is free. That's a pretty good price, right? Okay, right now, let's get to our listener. This is Peter, who's on the line from Florida.
So I am getting close to retirement with my wife. I think we're pretty well in pretty good shape. But I'm not quite sure about the distribution of our savings at this point. It seems like we have a lot in retirement and not very much in brokerage. Mm-hmm. And so I'm looking for what should we do in terms of Roth, pre-tax, brokerage? How should we divide up our savings as we get close to retirement?
Well, first of all, amazing that's your big question, because it means you have some stuff that you can divvy up. So, Peter, how old are you?
I am 65.
And you have a spouse you mentioned. How old is she?
She's 62.
And right now, are both of you working full time?
We're both working full time.
How much you guys earn together?
Probably about $250. Sometimes with a bonus, maybe of 20 to 40K. It kind of goes up and down a little bit, but yeah.
Okay. And when are you going to call it quits? What do you think?
Looking at 70.
Oh, wow. So 5 more years. That's amazing. So we have 5 years while you're still making this much money, which is kind of great. Will either of you be entitled to a pension?
My wife has a very small $5,000 a year pension, but
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Well, I'm not even going to put that in. That's like a coffee fund. That's about it. Right now, how are you managing this 250, 280, depending on your bonus? How are you managing this cash flow? Are you putting money into retirement funds right now?
We maximize our 401ks, so about 60 a year into the 401k,
Mm-hmm.
and we have a little bit more that we could put like in a 457, or we could put in a brokerage.
Are you doing that right now or not?
Yes, we're doing that regularly. Yeah.
Okay, so give us a rundown of what the assets look like. So do you have it divided up into pre-tax or traditional versus Roth?
Yeah.
What do you got?
Yes. So we're looking at about $3 million in pre-tax, about $1 million in Roth, and then about $150 in a brokerage.
That's great. Do you guys have anyone you have to take care of? Do you have kids that need help, parents who are still alive? What do you got?
No, our kids are pretty much launched and parents have passed away. So we don't have anyone other than ourselves.
If you look at your spending right now, what does it look like in terms of your needs going forward? Like if you could kind of project out 5 years, what do we think you need?
I would say maybe between 12 and 14,000 a month pre-tax.
So like 10 or 12 net. Let's just say 12 net. Let's start with that. What will your Social Security benefit be at age 70, Peter?
I would be about 58. My wife would be about 25.
There's no other income. You don't have any rental properties or anything like that?
No.
Okay, great. So, I mean, it's amazing to me always when I look at those numbers because I say, wow, at age 70, you guys are going to have a good chunk of your needs met, right? Because you'll have over $8,000, $8,300 that is just Social Security. And then we're looking at the pre-tax and the Roth accounts to kind of fill in the gaps. And do you guys own your home?
Yes, we do.
And how much is it worth?
$450K.
Okay. And any mortgage that's outstanding?
Yeah, about a $300,000 mortgage.
Is that your only property?
Yes.
Okay. What's the mortgage rate?
2.75.
Oh my gosh. You're not going anywhere, are you?
No, we hit a good spot there. Yeah.
It's amazing, right? When you're looking at the pre-tax versus the Roth, are you doing conversions now or are you just putting all of your money into Roth right now?
We're just putting all of our money into Roth right now.
Okay. And the brokerage account, does that also have like an emergency reserve component or do you have some money that's in the bank?
We have a little set aside as emergency, about maybe $50K as an emergency fund.
Okay. So right now you're just stockpiling cash and you'll have plenty of money, right? So you know that, right? I think you know that because you have all this money and you're going to,
I think so.
And then you have 5 more years of continuing to put money away. You know, this pre-tax account is obviously going to be an issue, right? I'm just trying to think if it really makes sense. I'm not sure it really even makes sense to start converting it right now. Have you ever done a conversion or not?
Way back around 2000, we converted. That's how we got the original Roth amount in there.
Right.
But,
that was like that like
since
year where you got to do like this crazy amount and, there was no issue. And there's no other IRA accounts, right? When we said 3 million of pre-tax, those are all employer-based plans?
There's a little bit of a, I'm trying to think of the right word,
rollover,
a non-employer based. Yeah, okay. IRA. That's it.
Okay. I think that the game plan would likely be at this point, obviously you have plenty of money. Okay. And what you would likely do is when you retire, you will start pulling money out of these pre-tax accounts and start doing that somewhat aggressively until you have to start taking your money out, which I think based on your age is either I think it'll be 75 for you guys. I'm pretty sure. We'll get back to Peter in just a minute. If you would like to get some help thinking through a problem or maybe just checking your strategy, all you need to do is get in touch with us. And it's easy. Go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and write us a note. That's the email that we receive. And if you'd like to join us live, which I think is a much better experience, check the box and Mark will do everything else. I get to ask all those follow-up questions. That's why I like it better. If you're shy, change your name. There's no problem with that. You're listening to the Jill on Money Show, and we will be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and this is the program that's trying to help take the mystery out of your financial life, hopefully with a little sense of humor, little entertainment. We don't want money to be scary. We certainly don't want it to be boring, and we want to try to help you out. If you've got a question, go to our website, jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and let us know what's going on. We really would love to help you out. So right now, let's get back to Peter, who is on the line with us from Florida. You know, obviously, if you kept working because you loved it, then, you know, gang, I don't know if you realize this, but when you're still working, you don't have to take your required minimum distributions, even if you're at the age where you're supposed to. But we're going to get you retired. You're going to be 70, and you'll be able to pull money out of the pre-tax retirement. And I would do that depending on where tax rates are at the time, but let's pretend they are where they are today. I would probably start to do that more aggressively from age 70 until the day you have to start taking your distributions, right? I would try to get a lot of money out and keep you, let's say, in the 24% tax bracket, okay? And that's how we're going to let the Roth continue to rock and roll. In the meantime, what I think you may want to do is to consider maybe not putting as much money into your Roth right now and building up that brokerage account a little bit. Just a little bit, not even like a ton, but like if you guys are both if you're putting 60 grand into the Roth, maybe put in do half of that, like 30 would go into the Roth and then put 30 into the brokerage account and let it build up a little bit. Look, you can always get access to all of this money. And frankly, having $4 million, it'll be more than that. It'll be, $4.5 million, $5 million. It's a ton of money, and it will give you everything you need. But I think given the 5 years until retirement, there's not a big change to make, and you're going to be able to pull out a lot of money from these accounts. But at that time, when, you're retired, the 250 is now gone away, right? The only thing you have at age 70 is your Social Security, which will be a gross of $8,300 a month. And so that means that you could pull out a couple $100,000 every year until you're forced to do that from the pre-tax account, pay the tax that's due, add that, make that be part of your living expenses, but also beefing up your brokerage account and your emergency reserve a little bit. And then I think you're really good to go. I mean, look, the numbers are going to be the numbers. You're not going to feel happy about the fact that, the government's forcing me to take this money out, but it's like you don't have enough time to get as much out as you'd like. If you were saying to me if it were 5 years ago and you were retiring, we'd say, okay, when in your 60s, just pull the money out of the account. I mean, it's clearly better to keep working. It does compound the problem that the money in the pre-tax account will continue to grow. But this is not a bad problem. It's a good problem. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I'd rather have it there and pay the tax than not have it, for sure.
Exactly right. Yeah. Exactly right. Are you comfortable managing all of this money on your own? You feel good about this?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident.
Okay. Well, look at you. Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Is there anything else that's in your sort of big picture plans that would alter this?
Not really. I guess, we look at the Roth as being kind of a substitute for long-term care. So to keep that as is that a reasonable strategy? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, look, I think that whatever the account is that you're using, you're self-funding your long-term care needs, right? And you have a lot of money. And I don't think that you're at risk in any way, shape, or form. And you'll have accumulated enough money so that, honestly, even if you just had your required minimum distributions are probably going to be the money that you need to live on. Everything else will grow. So whatever's in a retirement account, you can tap. Either way, it'll be fine. And I think that you don't need long-term care. I presume you have your estate documents. You sound like a kind of guy who's buttoned up. Are the estate documents done?
Yep.
I figured that. See, I'm very smart. And no other plans about a second home, a different thing, nothing like that, right?
Not right now, no.
Okay. I mean, then I think that you are in good shape. The only little bitty change is that you would just shift from putting 60 grand into the Roth to putting maybe 30, add 30 to the brokerage account. When you hit that 70, pull the money out of that pre-tax account, pay the taxes that are due at hopefully whatever the 24% bracket is, and then just move into a period of time where you're taking those required minimum distributions. Look, if something changed, if all of a sudden you said to me, actually, I'm done next year, then I would just accelerate this idea, which is you would just pull the money out. If you said I'm done next year, then we would just pull money out of your pre-tax account to live on, and then and use that, and like sort of same strategy, but get the money out and pay the tax that's due when we know the tax rates are low. If you've got a question, something is going on, and you need our assistance, or you need a third party to intervene, both Mark and I are certified financial planners. So we love the big holistic look at your life. We love drilling down to the details. But I think most of all, the value of what we're doing is listening to you. I think often when we're talking to you guys, what we hear in the emotional body is equally as important as the facts that you are recounting, because that is real to you. And we have to factor all of that in as we think about the best way for you to get to the next place. So get in touch with us. Go to JillOnMoney.com and click the Contact Us button. The Jill on Money Show will be right back. You're back. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. And we do that by having you do some work. Go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and just click that Contact Us button, write us a note, and let us know what's going on, okay? This is from Anonymous, one of our most popular writers. Anonymous writes, after purchasing my new-to-me car in 2014 with cash, I started putting away $200 a month in a money market account to replenish that fund. That 16-year-old beloved car now must be replaced. Oh, boo-hoo. Okay, but Anonymous says, I will be paying cash again for the replacement. My question is how to best save the money. Should I put $200 a month into a money market account, or should I instead put that money into a total stock market index fund? Do the benefits outweigh the risks? As before, I will be buying a 5-year-old car and hope to keep it for at least 10 years. Well, Anonymous, this is a great question. I think that it shouldn't be all or nothing, meaning that I'm presuming because you're a good saver, you already have your emergency reserve fund. You probably are allergic to debt because otherwise you'd be thinking about a car loan. And so now the question is $200 a month in a money market account or a stock market index fund. Those are two ends of a spectrum. Maybe $200 a month should go $100 into a stock market fund and $100 into a bond index fund. Maybe that is a way to kind of go down the middle a little bit. That's called a balanced portfolio. And, you know, if you're going to buy a 5-year-old car and you're going to keep it for 5, 8, 10 years, I think that seems like a reasonable risk to assume. But if you've got more follow-up questions, just get back in touch with us. We're happy to talk you through this. Well, that's it. That's the show. Our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer and king of all things web. We ask that you do something nice for someone else today. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. Thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week.